They slapped a $500 daily fine on her, printed on a piece of paper that looked like it came straight from a kid's science fair project. No official stamp, no legal header, nothing but smug arrogance and cheap ink. And the worst part, that smug little smile Karen wore when she handed it over, like she was the law itself. But what she didn't know was that the woman she was trying to bully wasn't just any newcomer. No, she had just declared war on someone who'd spent a decade writing the rules she was now trying to abuse, and 2 years earlier. Elena Torres moved to a quiet neighborhood on the edge of West Ashbury. She'd left behind a high-rise job in urban planning back in Chicago, traded in her heels for hiking boots, and bought herself a modest plot of land at the end of a sleepy street called Maple Hollow. Her plan: simple. Build a shed, grow some vegetables, live a quiet life. But then came her. Karen Langston, 38, blonde bob, power-walked in heels like she owned the sidewalks, and HOA president of Rosewood Bluffs for going on 4 years. She ran the HOA like it was a Fortune 500 company, the type who'd knock on your door to remind you your lawn was half an inch too long, with a smile sharp enough to slice bread. It started on a cool October morning. Elena was clearing weeds, gloves on, flannel rolled up, hair tied back. She was knee-deep in brambles when Karen appeared like a bad Yelp review, holding a laminated flyer and that signature tone of condescension. "What exactly do you think you're doing?" Karen asked, stepping between Elena and her wheelbarrow. "I'm clearing my lot," Elena replied, "to build a garden shed." Karen blinked. That's simply not allowed. The HOA board just designated this lot as protected green space. Emergency vote. Last week. Now, Elena's no fool. She'd checked the zoning laws before buying the lot, pulled permits. Read the original HOA covenants from 1995 3 times. So when she asked to see the vote minutes, Karen stumbled, muttered something vague, and walked off like she'd won. But something about that encounter didn't sit right. Elena paused construction. That night, she sat by her window and spotted Karen on her porch, whispering into her phone, shooting glances across the street. That look, the one that says, "I think I've won," made Elena smile, because it was far from over. 3 days later, Elena came back with her permits in hand, everything still valid. No official notices in her mailbox, no emails, nothing on the community board. And yet, within 5 minutes of arriving, Karen was back this time with 2 HOA board members, Marcia Templeton, stern-faced, arms crossed, and Leo Huang, a twitchy accountant who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. "You were told to stop," Karen declared, loud enough for the neighbors to hear. Marcia handed Elena a fine notice, $500 per day. The document looked like it was made in Microsoft Word 97. "This isn't legal," Elena said, holding back a chuckle. "And I'd like to see the board vote where this was approved." Karen flushed. Leo looked like he wanted to disappear. Later that night, Elena saw herself on the HOA's Facebook group. Karen had posted a photo mid-swing with a pickaxe, with the caption, "New resident destroys our community's natural harmony." The comments brutal, neighbors calling her selfish, saying she was lowering property values. She couldn't even walk her dog without feeling the stares. But instead of folding, Elena did what Karen never expected. She dug deeper. She took a day off, drove to the county records office, and with the help of a clerk named Judy, who reminded her of her old debate coach, found gold, her lot. It was outside Rosewood Bluffs' HOA boundaries. A 2009 survey map showed the HOA's reach stopped 47 feet before her lot even began. Legally, Karen had no say over it at all, armed with proof. Elena walked up to Karen's manicured lawn, where the Queen of Roses was snipping her already perfect bushes. "Karen," she said, holding out the documents, "your HOA doesn't control my land. Never did." Karen's eyes narrowed. I'll see you in court. Oh, I'm counting on it, Elena replied, walking away. And Karen did follow through. Called a city inspector, told him Elena was trespassing on communal land. But when Tom the inspector showed up and checked his records, he just scratched his head and said, this lot is city-owned and privately sold. HOA's not involved. So Karen did what petty tyrants do best. She escalated. Showed up one morning, physically blocking the contractors Elena had hired to start framing the shed. Arms crossed, phone out, calling the cops for disturbing the peace. And that was the moment Elena stopped playing nice. Because what Karen never knew was who Elena really was. She wasn't just a quiet city girl playing farmer. She was a former policy director, the woman who wrote the guidelines for community zoning reform in 2 states. She'd helped draft legislation regulating HOA power abuse. She'd testified in court, advised city councils, and she knew every trick Karen thought she'd invented. That night, she dug into Rosewood Bluff's corporate filings, and what she found was a goldmine. Fake votes, missing elections, misused funds. And when she hosted a casual coffee morning for the neighbors, the story spilled out. Karen had fined one family for planting wildflowers, threatened another for parking a trailer in their own driveway. One man, a retired lawyer named Bill, had been warned not to question board authority for the good of the community. Then came the twist. Karen's husband, Jeff, quiet, red-eyed, exhausted, pulled Elena aside after the meeting. She's been obsessed, he said, up till 3 a.m., rewriting bylaws, spending HOA money on legal threats. I didn't sign up for this. The next day, Elena made one final discovery. Her property hadn't just been privately sold. It was part of a city initiative meant to establish public access garden spaces on land outside HOA reach. Karen wasn't just being pushy, she was interfering with a city-funded project, which, is a criminal offense. So, when Karen called a community emergency meeting at the local rec hall, standing at the podium like she was addressing the United Nations, Elena showed up. Karen spoke first. Of course. Grand speech. Accused Elena of destroying community values. Demanded her shed be demolished. Requested $5,000 in damages. Then, Elena walked to the front. Karen, she said, setting down her briefcase, thanks for organizing this. It's the perfect setting to clarify a few things. She took a breath. I'm Elena Torres, former policy director, urban zoning consultant. I've written regulations for over 40 HOAs across 3 states. And this. She held up the survey, the deed, the program paperwork. This property is 47 feet outside your jurisdiction. Also, your board never held legal votes. You've misused funds, falsified documents, and interfered with a municipal project. Silence. Then someone stood. Bill, the retired lawyer. I call for a vote of no confidence in the current HOA board. Hands went up like dominoes. Even Leo, the accountant, raised his. Karen turned white, then red. Then she grabbed her purse and hissed, "Fine. Let's see how you all handle chaos without me." And she stormed out, literally slamming the door behind her. What happened after? Well, Elena was asked to serve as interim president. The shed became more than a storage spot. It turned into a community garden hub, complete with shared tools, classes, and a lending library. The HOA rewrote its bylaws, added transparency rules, created a neighborhood bill of rights. Other towns even started calling, asking for help with their own HOA nightmares. And Elena, she finally stopped pretending to be someone she wasn't. She embraced who she really was, a builder of systems, a protector of fairness. Even Karen's husband, Jeff, came by sometimes to help weed the garden. Said it felt like the first time in years he could breathe. One evening, Elena stood under the big oak tree at the center of the garden, watching kids dig up carrots and neighbors swapping pie recipes. "You ever regret moving here?" someone asked. She smiled. Not for a second. Because in trying to tear her down, Karen helped build something far more powerful, not just a shed, but a community that finally knew how to stand together. What do you think? Was Karen just trying to protect the neighborhood? Or did she go way too far, and should people like Elena step up more often in local disputes like these? Drop your thoughts below. We're all ears.